And welcome back to a chapter a day. It is January 30th. Whoa, we almost finished with January. One more day. And then, hey, February begins, so I won't have my chapter numbers matching up with the days, but that's okay. On we go till we are finished with Genesis. Then I'm going to decide where I go from there. But before we begin, thank you again for the viewers and listeners to the readings. I pray that you're getting some inspiration or upliftment from them and continue to, you know, to share in there whenever you feel obligated, but feel like you want to, not obligated. Um, Likes will be fine. Comments and questions are always welcome as well. So, to review chapter 29, we see Jacob just finished deceiving his dad and stealing his brother's blessing. I guess was the firstborn blessing from his brother Esau. He is now going away to his mother's family to find a wife. So he is now meeting up. He met up with Rachel while at the well. She was coming with the sheep. She was a shepherdess. Okay. Sometimes I think we have these amazing pictures and imaginations of all these people in the Bible. They were simple folk, very simple folk. So she came up. He introduced himself, told her that he was related to her father, and he was so happy. He kissed her and crying, I think, took her. He went with her to her father's Laban's house, and we did encounter Laban some chapters back when Rebecca, his sister, was being betrothed to Isaac, the father. Isn't that interesting? All in the family. Laban tells Jacob, "Hey, you are like my brother, so I won't have you work for me for nothing. I will give you wages." Now Laban had two daughters. Leah was older than Rachel, so apparently in their custom, Leah was supposed to be married first, but Jacob wanted Rachel, so he agreed to work 7 years for Rachel. So on the night of the wedding, Laban deceives Jacob. What goes around comes around, doesn't it? Better believe it. And gives him Leah. Well, I guess she was all covered over. He didn't know. And, moments of passion. Well, anyway. So he went in onto Leah. And then he realized next morning, oh my gosh, this is not Rachel. So he went to Laban, of course, to address him. Hey, what's this? What did you do to me? So he told him, hey, you got to fulfill her week. I guess he had to, give her week of marital bliss. And then he'd have to work another 7. Then I think he would also have Rachel, but he'd have to work another 7 years. So he agreed, and that was what took place. And Leah did conceive. She had 4 sons: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. And we all know that Jesus came from the tribe of Judah. So let's read chapter 30 and see what takes place now. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, "Give me children, for else I die." And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?" And she said, "Behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her." And she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife. And Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, "God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan." And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, "With great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I prevailed." And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, "A troop cometh," and she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her, Is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? And wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him, and said, Thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God has given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God has endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived, and bare a son, and said, God has taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph. And she said, The Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, Send me away, that I may go into my own place, and to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go. For thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry. For I have learned my experience that the Lord has blessed me for thy sake. And he said, Appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, Thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude. And the Lord has blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide mine own house also? And he said, What shall I give thee? And Jacob said, Thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, Behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he-goats that were ring-straight and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and pilled white streaks in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had pilled before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, ring-straight, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks to what the ring-straight, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in, So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and menservants, and camels, and asses. And that's the end of chapter 30. Thank you so much again for viewing and listening. Until next reading, take care.